Good afternoon, Flosstube. This is Michelle at the Striped Rose. It is Sunday afternoon, August the 8th, and this is my 24th podcast. It's been since the end of March, and I didn't mean to be away that long, so I have a lot to show you. It's not going to be in any kind of order, but I wanted to start with a very brief tribute to Blackbird Designs, of Barb of Blackbird Designs. I've really enjoyed watching the other tribute videos, and I just chose the 5 pieces that I have gotten framed. The first one might be the most recent one I've gotten framed. It is the Garden Club series. I'm sorry you can see the windows there. It's mostly the called for threads. Sometimes I used a different color, but still from the called for palette. All right. My lovely assistant can hang that back up. My first one that I ever got framed, probably, this may have been the first Blackbird Designs that I did. My mother actually bought, I think it was the Sea Fog linen. It was the called for linen and threads for me when we were, when Georgia had a needlework shop. Sorry, the tablecloth is that tile pattern. Now, my mother took it to get it framed for me, and the framer, who's not the framer I use now, this was 2007, she said it needs, the center panel needs to be centered, which is going to make this border off-centered. And my mother wasn't sure. She thought the whole design should be centered, and she asked me, and I told her I didn't care. And actually, I still don't care. I'm not going to have it reframed. You see what I'm talking about? How there's a border here, and then this is just a blank border. That's what the framer thought would be best, to have the design centered and not the border, the asymmetrical border centered. I'm fine either way. Still to this day, 14 years later, I still don't have a preference. I'd be interested to see how other people have it framed, but I still could go either way. It doesn't make any difference to me. I will really want to do this this flower design as a little pin keep, a little pin pillow. All right, and that hangs up in my bedroom. I've talked about my great aunt wall, and this is the one and only framed piece on my great aunt wall, and it's actually my grandmother, my one surviving grandparent. Her name is Johnny. She was the 4th girl to be born to my grandparents. My grandfather's name was Johnny, and I'm sorry, my great-grandfather's name was Johnny, and she was the 4th daughter, the 4th child, the 4th daughter, so they named her Johnny, and then the next child, of course, was a boy. One of the sister before my grandmother, her name, we always called her Aunt Bill. Well, of course, they didn't name their daughter Bill. They named her Willie, and she was called Bill for short. Willie and Johnny. Willie had been my great-grandmother's father's name. But you find that a lot. Daughters named after their fathers. So that is the very beginning of my great aunt wall. I have completed one other sampler for that wall, but it's my sampler. Technically, I am a great aunt on Jerry's side, and my sister's daughters, they're 11 and 13, and I told them that now I am a great aunt on Uncle Jerry's side. They may now call me Auntie the Great, because they call me Auntie, so now they can call me Auntie the Great, and they were not impressed by that at all. probably one of the more beautiful samplers, and I'm sorry for the glare. I changed my orange slightly because my marigold was wild looking. The marigold that was called for was wild. I may have changed a couple other things, but just because of whatever I had on hand, not because I didn't like any of this. Is the 1861 sampler that is in Friendship's Way, maybe, book. The next one, the last one I have to show you, the last Blackbird that I have framed, is from the ABCDarian series, and I don't remember the name. And I think I was supposed to stitch my name in 1/1 there, and I think I started and gave up because I can just barely detect a thread that I didn't pull out all the way. But I really like that one. And the thing about Blackbird Designs is they all look good together. I don't know if it's the palette, but they all look good. They just all look good together. Or maybe all samplers look good together. So this is Blackbird Weekend, as was last week, from what I understood from Brenda and Laura. If the first of the weekend is on the Sunday one month, well then just have 2 Blackbird weekends, which is fine for me. So this is what I've been working on yesterday and this morning before church. I don't know what you call this when all 3, I've just been thinking of it as Blackbird Designs seasons. It's got 3 of the seasons, and I don't know why there aren't 4. I don't know if it's because summer and spring would be so similar. I don't know if it's because 3 is aesthetically a magic number, 4 is not. So I was watching Kim Goldman do her progress on this, and she's writing there is a season for everything, I think, across the top and bottom, and I thought that's really what I want. My daughters make fun of all the alphabets. My daughter's friends that follow me on Instagram make fun of all the alphabets. I guess they just follow me to see the dogs and cats. And so I thought, you know, one day my children will have this, and it would be more meaningful for them to have those words instead of an alphabet. And so I pulled it out yesterday to work on it, and I'm just missing Q and R across the top. There is no way in this world that I'm pulling out all those dark red, manor red stitches, because that would be a mess. It would just, I don't know that I could ever get it completely. This is platinum fabric, and that's manor red over dyed threads. I don't think I could ever get that nice and neat. And I've got all but 2 letters of the alphabet, so it's just going to have to stay. So what I've been working on is the house in autumn and filling in on the bird. I haven't filled in my flower yet because I just wasn't sure. I think what I want to do was one of the new Classic Colorworks from Needlework Expo, Vanilla Custard. It's lighter than the caramel corn, so I think I'll do that. I need to give those birds some eyeballs, because they're starting to look like zombie birds. And I'd really like to finish that this year. Of course, I like to finish all kinds of things this year. The next thing I wanted to show you, I every year plan to do an ornament a month. Raise your hand if you take a drink, if you plan to do an ornament a month, every year. I was going to alternate a Prairie Schooler Santa, because I wanted 6 for my mom, and then a regular ornament. So I started out pretty well. I don't know which one I started out with. And then the next month I finished an ornament for me. A Little House Needleworks, I imagine. And then I did another one. And months went by. And obviously I have some margin issues, because the next one, would you look at those margins? So I've got 3 completed, and I think I'll be okay, even if I have to just super glue it on. So that's 4 ornaments, and we're on the 8th month. So that's how that plan went. I have started another Santa, and my Santas, I've been doing them. I cut off this long strip from something else. Don't know what happened there. And so I've just been doing them and then cutting them off, except for that one that so there's no, I mean, I've got plenty of fabric here. There was no reason I should have cut it that short. This is the not geranium Santa, poinsettia Santa. So I've started him. I'd like to finish him this month, of course. I'd like to do another ornament, but I just really, really want to make sure I get 6 Santas. I made my mom 4 last year, so this would be 10. So I want to show you, it may be kind of tricky because I don't want to show you the pattern. I want to show you what I finally did with all our Prairie Schooler Santas. I got a half size. I can't remember. I may have showed you this on Instagram. I'm much more active on Instagram. My children and my children's friends say I overgram on Instagram. So this is a half size notebook binder, 3-ring binder. And it has page protectors that are half size. So whatever half of 11 and a half by 8 or 8 and a half by 11 is a regular sheet of paper. So these are a little smaller than that, but I went ahead and put them in the page protectors anyway. So I've got them all in here. And what I do when I finish one is I've got these. Okay. I've got just some stickers, and I'm using the birds. And when I finish one, I stick a bird on there and I write the year. That's 21. So I've got the first one, I think is 1984. So I've got 1984 to this year. And they're just, I can't show you because if I flip them open, you'll see the back side of the one before. So I bought 1 pack of the protectors, and I've got that many left. So they're all in here, and this is very pleasant to flip through. I would flip through it for you if I didn't show you, if I would not show you the pattern. The other thing that's really interesting about these is because my mother had collected them for years and years and years, and then I ordered I ordered some of them. I like looking at the price tags because, they go from 50 cents all the way up to now. They're under $5, aren't they? Or are they right at $5? But I also like seeing all the different needlework labels. That one says Gingers. I like seeing all the different needlework. So silver needle, the dogwood patch, that was in Georgia, when Georgia had a... So anyways, this is very pleasant. Just sit down and look through this book. And then I've got my stickers clipped to the back, and that goes there. Okay, so that's Christmas stitching. So the next category is red samplers. I've really enjoyed watching Lori Holt. She does 1 red thread a day. Lori Mischievous Stitches does 1 red thread before bed. And I noticed Primitive Stitcher in her last podcast talked about, I can't remember how many threads she does, but that reminded me, oh yeah, I used to do that. I used to do, and I have a hashtag, 2 red threads a day, I think is my hashtag. And I think I remember telling you about this. I thought, well, if 2 red threads on 1 project is good, 2 red threads on 2 projects will be better. And what about 3? And then I got burned out. But I did start back at some point, but I haven't been very good about it. But ever since I watched Primitive Stitcher, I've decided to get back into it. So this I finished earlier in the year, and God willing, I'm going to the Framers tomorrow, and we'll be dropping off Viola Martini. Next, I finished, because I wanted to alternate French, German, but I think I'm running out of German. This one is, I think, one of my favorite ones right at the moment. To the Good Mother on Her Birthday with Love. This is from European Reproduction Samplers. Look up European Reproduction Samplers and enjoy yourself. I'm assuming this is PRO, Silks for You PRO 34, which is a really great red. I just assume everything else I'm doing is $4.98, DMC $4.98. So those two are going to be new additions to my red sampler wall, my red schoolgirl sampler wall. I finished one other sort of red sampler. This is by the Nebby Needle, and I had started this during Lent, and I was going to work on it Wednesdays and Fridays during Lent and have an Easter finish. Yeah. I picked it back up a week or two ago, and I was in the word forever up here in July. But it went really, really quickly. I really like this script, this font. I really, really like it. So it did go quick. I've got a mistake somewhere. My big word hallelujah didn't line up just right. This is actually a rusty red. It was called Chili Pepper by Victorian Motto Samplers when I bought Victorian Motto sampler threads and fabrics. You can't really see. It's a rusty red. So it's not going to go on my red sampler wall, and I did it on, I think, Corn Tassel, Legacy Linen Corn Tassel, but that's a finish. I mean, remember, it's been 4 months. Here's a finish, a Priscilla and Chelsea finish. I think that this is just Vigart, and I think is it Summer Khaki or Woodland? I think it's Summer Khaki. It's not nearly as yellow as it, because I don't really like yellow, as it's showing up. And I had plans to do some other ones. In fact, I can't show it to you because all I've got is the, are you going on a bike ride? I can't show it to you because I don't have the cover. I wanted to do Bloom and the Honeybee and, oh, Old Glory. I did that one. All right, so that's a finish. Here's a finish. I did this one for Mary Margaret. This is Plum Street Samplers. And it has a companion piece where this background is a teal color. I used all the call fors there, except the houses I just did in 3865 for the white. Everything else. And that light green, I just used a little scrap of something that was lying about because I couldn't find artichoke. So that's a finish. Remember, it's been 4 months. This is a recent finish. Maybe, I think this is my most recent finish, a day or two ago. This is Sheepish Designs. It was published in 1991. I think this was the first time I ever really noticed Sheepish Designs. I found this. Hector! I found the pattern at my mom's house years and years ago, and I think that I used 3053 and I should have used 3052, so it wouldn't have been such a pastel green. It says, be you to others kind and true as you would have others be to you. And it just doesn't show up really well. I don't know if when it's stretched with a mat behind it, if it's going to show up better, but I'm not picking it out, and I'm getting it framed, and I'm going to put this for me on the Great Aunt wall, I think. So that's Sheepish Designs, and you can still find a lot of Sheepish Designs at Kitten Stitcher's website. You can find them online, but Kitten Stitcher has them, and they seem to be, you know, the original prices. Okay, we were talking about red samplers, and I got distracted. I am stitching a red sampler right now. I had finished a German one, the Good Mother, on her birthday. And I have this in one of my Berry Stitch Folk bags. This was the first one I bought because I knew it had to be a red sampler bag. And I have the thread keep my needle and my DMC 498, which I hope to put on a thread drop when I get mine from Vistaprint, so I can participate in the great thread drop trade. So I chose a French one, Alice Lots by Reflet de Soie. And it's a big one. But there is a lot of unstitched space. But I don't carry my thread over more than 2 squares. It'd be like 4 threads, 2 squares. And so all of these are start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. You can't get to anywhere. And I'm doing it on Attic lace, which I had a piece of, I guess, from Lakeside Linens. And I'm not crazy about the way my stitches look on such a stark white fabric. When I get close up to them, they don't look nice and neat. This is $4.98 again, DMC 498, and there I am. That's what I've been doing, 2 red threads a day. And it's a pretty big piece, so I think I could probably get a smaller one on the bottom. But that's my current red thread piece. I was going to work on it first thing this morning, and then I suddenly started doing the Blackbird. So I'm going to show you my stash right now in the middle of things, because one piece of stash is something I've waited on for a long time. I got this from Kitten Stitcher. I know that Country Sampler also has it. Antonetta Bovey. So this obviously is attractive because it's a red sampler, but it's horizontal. So that's just great, isn't it? Doesn't have any identifying city or town. September 1910. But I bought an extra skein of Manor Red, and I'm going to do this one in Manor Red. I don't know what fabric yet. So samplers remembered. I really fell in love hard with this, and I've already ordered 5 of the NPI silks to start it with in the upper left-hand corner. I really wish there was a good, clear, picture I could show you, because I had a hard time, but I knew I wanted it, even though I couldn't see a big, clear picture. I just loved that. And this is Katherine Armstrong by Antique Sampler Reproductions. She's been putting out one chart a month this year, but I just love that. So I want to start that when I get the silks. It calls for pecan butter linen, which that would be nice, but so I don't really know what I'm going to do on that one. All right, so then I just had 2 more. I ordered this because I fell in love with that completely. Not that I've been able to complete many of the patriotic stitches that I've started, but I really love that by Heartstring Sampler, and I even love the background of the chart. So a plant of rapid growth. And then I got this one because I'm almost finished with my boo jar, but I've realized that having put away my boo jar, having put away the 40 count black linen for a long time, you don't just pick that back up in a second. It is not like riding a bicycle. I'm really having to get accustomed to 40 count black linen again. And I've even thought, yeah, there's no way I'm going to stitch this one, but I think I will. I think I will, because I really, really love the design. I want it to be interchangeable, and I may just do these two and have this from spring till summer and the other one and the boo jar from fall until it's time to do sunflowers again. That won't bother me too much. The very lovely Tanya, the sampler girl, borrowed a chart from me and then sent me gifts. I have wanted this for a long time, and I'm very happy to have this, Tanya. Thank you so much. This is Brenda Gervais. I love this one. I mean, I may just put all my charts on my wall, because those would look great together. And she also sent a kit. It's in plastic, so I won't rustle it around, but it's got the ribbon and the threads and the fabric to make this little pumpkin. Alrighty, so that is haul. Now I'm just going to show you some whips, things that I've been working on. What I really want to finish this year is this right here, because I've been saying that forever. Plum Street Samplers, 1,000 Hills, the Ray Dunn mugshot. I've almost finished the grass at the bottom. Almost finished the grass. I've been working up, filling in little bits, beaks and things up here. Oh, I was working on this cheetah right there. And I have been doing some of the 1/1 with not normal thread, but the thinner silk. I don't know, it's not the Gloriana silk, the Tudor silk. I put it on a thread drop. The Tudor silk, and it's better. On 40 count, 1/1, it is better. So I've been talking about this, it seems like, for years, and I really want to get it done. Getting the grass done, or mostly done, except for that right there, that was a big hurdle. I felt like, you know, I wanted to make sure that that I had plenty of grass, because I was using 2 or 3 different strands. And now if I can just get this hurdle over with, I think we can finish this year. I was trying to finish this, and I thought, oh, well, I'll alternate it, because I can't just, you know, I'll go crazy if I just force myself to finish it. So I alternated it with this, and then I was almost finished with this, and I pulled out the Hallelujah and finished it, and then I went back and finished this, and then I started working on the Blackbird Designs Seasons. So even though I'm procrastinating getting back to this, I'm getting lots of other stitches done. So I mentioned my boo jar. This is in a Creative Carol bag. I'll just show you everything that's in here, because it's stuffed full. So the boo jar, I have the picture, but I don't have it now. The boo jar, 1 strand of floss for everything. I think in the chart some of it's 1 strand and some of it's 2, but 1 strand of floss for everything. I'm using just DMC regular white for my white. So this is the height. I think this is the bottom right there. So I just need to get these little, I mean, it's cute as it can be. I love the colors. I love pumpkins. I love the look of the fabric. I just, you know, stitching on black, it's just hard. I'm also finding stitching on the Attic lace, it's a pretty stark white for what I usually do. And I'm finding it's very difficult too, because, you know, they say, well, you can put the black in your lap and have a white piece of paper or a white towel in your lap and the light will reflect up through the holes. Well, that doesn't really happen on white fabric because it's just all white. So they're kind of hard to see too. But I got a big honking piece because I wanted to do more jars, and I probably will because they're awfully cute. Gotta be careful with my needle because I've poked through some of my plastic bags. This just needs, this is practically done. This is Priscilla and Hands-On Designs from the magazine. And I think, what am I missing here? I got to finish the border, fill in the stem. I think there's some flowers and some Smyrnas that need to be sprinkled along, and then that's done. I don't know why. I don't know why it takes me so long. So the only other thing in this bag was a start from a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, on Mania, when I started all the things, but I love them all. Country Cottage Needleworks. And I've never really given this, I've never really devoted a lot of time to this. It's on the same thing I do everything on, light mocha. Light mocha? And I'm using, I think, 3865 because it shows up pretty well on light mocha. But I've never really devoted much time to it, but I really would like to get back to it, so it's in there so that I see it all the time. See it all the time. So that's that bag. I've been working on Boo Jar a good bit lately. Oh, sorry. Was that a dog or a cat? Okay. For the Great Aunt Wall, probably the next thing that I will finish, and I don't have the printed out cover sheet. I just have the printed out chart for Amelia Ellis, 1887 by Whilst Iris Naps. And I'm mostly using the color conversion, except for this A. I used the DMC because it was the first letter, and I couldn't find the called for overdyed, and I just wanted to start it. I really like that star right there. And today on Saltbox Stitcher, Carol said what that star was called. I've already forgotten. I did change my, I don't know what the brown was called, but I changed it to, why are you digging at the carpet? I changed mine to German chocolate, I think, because I didn't like the gold that was in the called for brown. But this is how wide it is. So it's a really small one. So that will be for my great aunt Thelma. The one I didn't know her name was Thelma until we were at her husband's funeral when I was 14. And the minister said, God bless Thelma. And I asked my Aunt Bill, who's Thelma? I thought her name was Thalmer, because that's what people said. They pronounced it Thalmer. So I thought her name was Thalmer. All right, another thing that I have worked on in the past 4 months for my Great Aunt Wall is for my other grandmother, my paternal grandmother. We just had a little celebration from the 100th year of her birth last month. I don't know why. It's not hard. I've got all the colors. I think this is on Russian Tea Cake. The DMC is the blue that was called for. I chose a green variegated silk, and I think I'm using, I hope I know what I'm using for the red, because it's not in here. I'm using Gloriana Olive Grove for the green. I'm using a Victoria Amato sampler for the pink, 926 DMC. I don't know what that red is. I think it's something that I was using for patriotic stitching. So that will be for the Great Aunt Wall, and that is in a Creative Carol bag. I sent her the fabric to have that one made. And it's Great Grandma Pearl's Birth Sampler by Beth Twist. She has several on her website. All right. This one I started on Mother's Day with Kim Goldman and some other ladies. Really nice colors. I think I have all the called for. That's where I heard about the German chocolate and really started liking the German chocolate. This is a Vonna bag that I made for myself. I had all this Blackbird Designs sampler fabric and had no idea what I had several years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Had no idea what I had and just started cutting it up and making Vonna bags. Pretty poorly executed. Michelle style Vonna bags. I don't know what that fabric is. So this is a GGR Mary Hunter. And I'm doing this for my grandmother, whose sampler I just showed you. I'm doing this for her mother. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth. My dad said that when he was a little boy, they would go and visit the grandmother, his grandmother that I'm making this for, and they would be in the car driving over, and my grandmother, this was her mother they were going to see, would be wiping off her lipstick and saying, "Don't you tell them that we went to the movies the other night." So I take it they were a little strict. This is Wayfarer's Cloak linen by Legacy Linens, and I've just been going on the alphabet, the German chocolate alphabet. So that's for the Great Aunt wall. Obviously I'm using the term Great Aunt pretty loosely. And there's those colors again. It's a mess, but it's still pretty. It's still pretty. I wonder if that, what is that light one right there? Corn silk. It's really pretty. All right. So the pile just got bigger and bigger, and I got more and more overwhelmed about doing a podcast. I was doing, earlier in the year, I was doing Whip Go, and I really liked it for the first 4 months. I felt it was like a no guilt way to work on things, because, you know, everything was going to come up in the year, and what I didn't get to this year, I'd get to next year. This is a Creative Carol bag. And then Mania came, and my plan usually in Mania is, I don't know if it's the somebody cat method, where if you have finished what you started on this date last year, you get a new start. Otherwise, you just work on what you had started on a previous year. And so I thought, oh, well, I can do that, and my red sampler, and my Prairie Schooler Santa, and Whip Go and Mania. I can't remember if this, and it fell apart. I can't remember if this had been one of my, I think this was a Whip Go piece. So I did work, I think I did most of this, maybe this. I would really, really like to get this finished this year. This, oh my goodness, Brenda and Laura. If you'd see what this is not an original cardstock. This is the paper one, and it didn't give it any respect. But I'm doing this top one. I also have the 2 other in the series, and I'd love to get them done, and I'd like to have them framed together and just keep them, the 3 of them, year round. It's 40 count, something that I over dyed with a bit of RIT, and it didn't take it very evenly, so that's fine, especially for autumn. So I'd really like, and it's just, I'm using the DMCs. Gonna stuff this back in my bag while Brenda and Laura pick themselves up off the floor after what I've done. I don't think I really worked on that. I don't know if I worked on this. I'll show you this. This is G Leisure. G Leger, I don't know. Whoa, that was in there. I don't usually stick a really sharp pair of scissors in with, I don't know what happened there. I don't know when the last time I worked on this was. I'm just going to give you a peek. I really want this on my French schoolgirl sampler wall, and I want to use the rest of this linen. There we go. I think I got down, this should be that pair that I've been so looking forward to, but I don't know what yellows to use. And then I think I'm near to where I can start that house, but I don't know what reds to use in my house. And I know the attic has a conversion, so I don't know if I can just call the attic and say, can I buy the silks for just the house and the pair? Because I've already got other stuff. I don't know. I really want this one done. I really want this one on the wall. And I really want to cut off all this linen and use it for something else. Okay. If there were cross stitch police, I think they would probably be pulling up at my house right now. Oh, this is becoming dangerous. All right. Creative Carol bag. I have got some things shoved in here. Isn't that pretty? I like them when they come. They're all crisp and straight, and I don't know what I did to them. All right, so last year on 4th of July, I started Flag Folk. I don't know if I bought a paper copy or I don't think I have something to show you. I had stitched the green vine in the called for green and didn't like it. Lori Holt is working on it, and she isn't releasing her conversion yet, but I really think I might, I may just hold off on whatever she used for her greens. I'm doing this on flax, Zweigart linen. I'm sure that is blue corn for the blue and red licorice for the red, which I'm having trouble finding red licorice because those are my favorite Americana ones. I don't know what happened in the middle of the flag there. I think I went through a lot of yellows. I didn't want to do the dresses, the clothing in Schneckly. I think I finally decided I'm gonna do them in a harvest basket. And I don't know what my problem was with the green. I guess I was using Oscar, which I use all. No. Oh, I used Weeping Willow and thought that was too pastel. Okay, so the other one that's in here, also there's a problem with this one is a problem with the yellow and the blue. This is one that I really, oh, here's Flag Folk. Not Forgotten Farm. I think I bought this because I don't usually print out things in color. The next one is by Samplers Not Forgotten. And I was worried that house would be too yellow for me. And it turns out that the blue, I think it's Blue Jay, was too blue for me. I don't know, I don't like either one. Oh, well, now that yellow's not bad, is it? Oh, the red is Cherry Cobbler. And Cherry Cobbler is the red I used in my grandmother's birth sampler with the pink roses and the birds. Cherry Cobbler, Cherry Cobbler. Okay. I can handle that yellow. What is that yellow? Brandy. I can handle that yellow, that gold. I don't know about that blue. I'll have to, and I would like to use the rest of this fabric too. This is why I didn't think I had any fabric, because it was all in all in bags. Those are going to my mom's house, so, but I still want to make sure that I like, that I can live with the yellow and the blue. Ooh. All right. I don't think I have anything else to, oh yeah, I do. Just if you want to see some more things. This is a Creative Carol bag I sent the fabric for. I haven't done much on this. This is Oh Joyous Day. I think this, I only worked on it when it came up in Mania. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'll show you that. I don't think it has white in it. All right, not exciting. Not exciting. I started something yellow there. Boy, I am just sticking needles everywhere today. Sorry. That wasn't a great show and tell. Berry basket. It's something, it's stitched on something from the people in New Jersey, Silk Weavers. And I really, really like it. And if I could go up there and pick through all their pieces and find a big piece of this that didn't have the blue dots, then I would get the world's biggest piece. But I would want to hand pick it myself so that I could make sure it didn't have blue dots. So there's the top. That basket, I think, down there is on the bottom. I haven't worked on it in a while, but I really do love it. I love them all. Berry bowl, and I started on this side. And I'm going to do them on the same piece of fabric, one piece of fabric. And something else is going to have to happen there. I want it to just be another basket. That's what I want it to be. This one I think I worked a lot on in when it was one of the first, I don't know what happened there, Mania, when I was staying on with Mania. Now, of course, Kim Goldman. I'm not going to stitch anything anymore until I see what Kim Goldman has done first, because I really, really like the way that they're all, when they're all stitched together in one long scene. Someone else has done that, but there is no way I'm stitching this house again. So this will be my only, probably be my only effort. I like that sand castle, the color of the house, a lot. I really like that. That's a Brenda Gervais. And there was one more thing that I thought I had, but we'll see. Okay. This was also a Mania. Early on in the Mania. When I was still trying to do the Manias that I had started. And I think I just got more done on the house. More done on the house. That's all I did. So I've worked on, it's just kind of scattershot. All right, what I'd like to do now, I had toyed with the idea, because I like to make things complicated, I had toyed with the idea of doing like a yarn tube knitting podcast, because I like watching some knitting podcasts. So I thought, instead of boring you with my crochet and knitting, if you're not interested, then I could just do a separate one. But who are we kidding? I can barely do a Flosstube. So I wanted to show you one crochet blanket out of the half dozen I'm working on, and 2 pairs of socks out of the dozens that I'm working on. There is a blanket called the Jayla blanket. Jayla blanket by Wild Little Acorns, and I think it was $5 or $6 the pattern on Etsy. If you follow me on Instagram, I put a screenshot a couple of days ago about this blanket, and it's really, really beautiful for fall. So this is the pattern. I bought the pattern, and it called for a cotton thread that came in 50-gram skeins, and it was lovely and beautiful, and I could get it on Wool Warehouse. But I really like acrylic blankets because my dogs get all over them and make them stink. And my cats pop their claws on them. And they wind up in the floor, and I like to wash them. And there's a straight pin. Hi, Hector. Yeah, I'm talking about you when I'm talking about making blankets nasty, aren't I? Yeah, that's what your job is. So there was another blanket that I thought looked nice, and I also screenshotted it on my Instagram. My Instagram is the Striped Rose. I think there's some underscores in it. And it's private because I used to post a lot of pictures of my nieces when they were younger and godchildren when they were younger. And also because I just thought it was weird that men looking for soulmates were following me. I just thought that was really strange. So I made it private, but if I can see that you are not a man in your 60s looking for a soulmate, you can be a man in your 60s if you like cross stitch. But if you're looking for a soulmate, I'm married. And so that's why my Instagram's private. But if you can show me that you're interested in sunflowers, yarn projects, needlework projects, I'll immediately, I'm on Instagram all the time, I'll immediately confirm. If you're half naked in the picture, I'll probably delete it. But anyway, so there are two in that post. There are two pictures that I've screenshotted with the designer, so you can find the designer. And the other one was similar. It had bobbles, but it was using this yarn from Hobby Lobby, which was on sale last week. So it'll probably be 2 weeks and it'll be on sale again, because that's a lot for a skein of yarn, especially since this one eats yarn. But they were 30% off last week. So I bought 10 colors. So one pattern called for this, and it's a free pattern. And the other pattern called for the cotton yarn. That's the pattern I'm doing, but I'm doing it in this yarn. So I chose 10 colors. The other pattern called for 11, but it called for a cream and a natural, and I couldn't find, I didn't want to, they had a cream and a white, and I didn't want to use the white, so I'm using cream for the cream and the natural. So these are the colors. They looked really good together in the shopping cart. They looked really good when I first looked at them, but sometimes I look at them and I think, because obviously it's not exact matches to the cotton yarn, because that's a different yarn line. They're not exact matches at all. It's just sort of the idea. But my 17-year-old Bella fell in love with it. She likes the bobbles. She says this is the only blanket. She says all my blankets look exactly the same and this one looks different. So she would like it for her autumn blanket. So I don't know quite. I mean, because that's mauve and pink. This is orange and mustard and tobacco. Hector, you just went outside. You're good right now. You're good. You're good. So anyways, we'll see. It's varying. It's very dense. It's very dense stitching. It's very soft because this is very, very soft yarn. But this is 14 rows right here. And I think it was like 5 inches. So anyway, that's what I'm doing it. The pattern gives you the size for a baby blanket and a toddler blanket. And I'm using the stitch count for one of them. I can't remember which one, but because the yarn called for was in sport count and this is in worsted, I'm just using the counts, and I think it'll be about 5 feet long. And it's very, very soft and nice. And this color is called Spice, and I can't just, it's like a russet color, but it's almost a little pink, but I don't know. It might be kind of crazy. We'll see. It's just yarn. So then I knit a lot of socks, and Bella wanted, my children never want my socks, and my children have told me that they have enough blankets, until Bella saw this one. But Bella said, I said, oh, come on, let me knit you a pair of socks. And she said, okay, I want a gray pair of socks. A gray pair of socks? And I said, well, if I'm going to do a gray pair of socks, I'm going to do a pattern. So I have had this for a long time. This is Knit Picks Stroll Tonal in Thunderhead or Thundercloud. And this is a pattern. I would do some things differently. If you decide to knit the sock pattern, tell me, because there's some things that I would do differently from the pattern. It's a paid for pattern. I think it's $2.50. It's Bicker Strot by Kemper Ray that does the junk yarn. Hector, come here, honey. You're not going outside right now to bark, okay? Like I would put, you see these purl ridges? I would put a purl ridge right there as well. It looks really good on. I didn't do her heel. I just did the heel I always do, which is from the Hermione's Everyday Socks. But it's ready. I always wait till the very last minute to Kitchener the toe. But isn't that pretty? So I started I started the second one last night. This one I did in about 3 days because it's really all I worked on when we went to Chattanooga. All right. I got this bag on Etsy. I think the store was called Kitsch is the New Black. It was in California. I really, really like it. This is like a really heavy canvas. I just really loved the and it came with, I didn't get it with the extra pockets. It would have been about $17 more. And it probably would have been well worth it, but I was just being very, very frugal and didn't do it. But it came with this little bag that I keep hair clips. My this is from the Crazy Sock Lady on Etsy. It's a measuring thingy. I got some Desert Vista sock yarn, which is like Cadillac sock yarn, and like an idiot, you know, I thought I'd cake it up, and it's been a nightmare. But I'm making Jerry You're a Mean One socks for Christmas. And I got a stitch marker of the Grinch somewhere on Etsy. I just looked up Grinch stitch markers. This black is a Knit Picks Hawthorne black tonal. Hawthorne is a really, it's not rough. It's very heavy duty, very twisted sock yarn, and I like to use, I've got a black tonal, a brown tonal, and a navy blue tonal, and a dark green tonal, and that's what I use for heels for Jerry a lot. So this is You're a Mean One, and I'm working on the foot. Anything else in there? I started, there's several patterns like this. I think Tracy from the Grocery Girls has a pattern like this. This is the pattern from Crazy Sock Lady on Etsy. Do your dogs do that reverse sneezing? Ramses, we're podcasting here. Get it together, boy. Hey, get it together. Get it together. The Crazy Sock Lady, yeah, I think it's called Rainbow Connection. You take 2 yarns, and it's not color work. Everybody's got allergies. I had this yarn. This was a $1 deal on an old Knit Picks sale. They had these $1 deals. And this was a Knit Picks Felici. And I bought 2 50-gram skeins because it was $1 a skein. But I really don't want socks like that. Jerry doesn't want socks like that. I had this, which was a Knit Picks tonal stroll yarn, but it pooled. I started making Jerry some socks, but I didn't like the spirally look. So I couldn't make socks out of either of them, so I decided to make socks together. And this is the back. I'm not great you know, this little jog back here where my stripes, but that's the back. It's really pretty. I cut out the lightest green yarn, but it's really pretty just in the stripes, 2-row stripes, but I did the pattern, and I'm really proud of myself that I followed the instructions and did the pattern. See how it spirals? Even in the cuff, you can see how the tonal variation spirals. I didn't care for that in the sock. I don't know. It's a little wild. It's very thick, you know, because it's got some slip stitches, so it's very thick. So I don't know if they would be comfortable for him to wear in shoes, but, you know, around the house on a cold evening, I think they would be fine. So I'm proud of myself for using up 2 skeins of yarn that I didn't want to use separately. And I'm also proud of myself for doing a complicated looking pattern, even though it's not complicated. It just looks complicated. So I could show you every other sock whip that I have. But I won't, because it's a cross stitch. I am doing Halloween socks for myself in Desert Vista Dye Works. They have a line of yarns that are zombie themed, and they have the purple and green decomposition stripes, and I think that's really funny. I'm not at all into zombies, but I'm a gardener, so I like decomposition, and I also really like purple and green. So this is Zombody's Eating Candy Corn. I kind of want the Zombody. It's a 100 Acre Woods for Piglet, and it's Zombody, and it's got different colors of pink with the decomp stripes. I don't know, I think it's kind of funny. I mean, I've got other things to show you that I could. This is Hermione's everyday leg pattern. I do the heel all the time, but I never do the sock pattern. But so this is the first time I've ever done the sock pattern. Anyway, I could be here and show you socks all day. So I really just wanted to check in. Thank you for coming back to watch me after my extended absence. I know, I show you the mess that I've got in front of me right now. Well, that's just the book, the homeschool mess right there. And here's the, oh dear. Oh yeah, this is what this room looks like. My Hobbit went to a flea market decorating style. My homeschool books are everywhere style. And my yarn is everywhere style. So, April, May, June was very, very funny. I posted some Insta stories of a shop that we went into in Chattanooga. It was called Bookstore. And we went in and there were books everywhere. There were weaving looms here and there, spinning wheels, parts of spinning wheels, sacks, like trash sacks full of yarn. And I had yarn, you know, hanging out of my pocketbook. And she said, oh, well, you really need to look at my yarn. And I just thought, there's no way in this world that I am bringing yarn with dust mites and moths and dust and who knows what else to my house. But anyway, so I panned around the store and April asked if that was my craft room. So as I just showed you, it's probably pretty close. So I will let you go now. It's been an hour. We'll see if this uploads. I'm not going to make you any promises about when I'll be back. But I am very active on Instagram. So if you want to see what I'm up to, if you want to connect on Instagram, as long as there's some way I can tell that you're a textile, yarny, needlework person or garden person or little dog person, then I will absolutely confirm you on my account. So I hope you have a good week, a good stitchy week next week, and I will see you sometime. Bye.